What's happening, my friends? My name is Nathan. Welcome to Motorcycle Training Concepts. In our previous video about safety concerns for new motorcycle riders, we talked about other drivers being a safety concern. And in this video, we're going to dig a little deeper into that and explain kind of the why other drivers can pose such a threat to you. So in a nutshell, other drivers are typically just not accustomed to sharing the road with you. They may not even be aware of your presence. They may not know that you're there. They're not looking for you. They're looking for other drivers. They're looking for other cars because that's what they drive. So this can pose a threat, especially during like dusk or dawn, maybe the sunrise, sunset. If it's night out, your headlight either being one headlight or two headlights real close together, and a car's rearview mirror could look like not a motorcycle really close. It could look like a car from far away. So they could just merge into you. They could look in their mirror and actually see you, but perceive it wrong. And then the other side of that is they could just not see you. You could blend into your surroundings. They could, again, they're looking for other cars. They're looking for big objects. They're not looking for small objects. So understanding that they just don't see you or perceive you wrong, it poses a threat for things like lane filtering or being in someone's blind spot or going faster than the flow of traffic. The important thing here is just to be aware of the fact that they just might not see you. And be vigilant, be ready to take action in case you get cut off. If you feel like you're in someone's blind spot, just get out of it, stuff like that. The next one to talk about is distracted driving. One of my personal principles here is you can't control what you can't control, and you should only try to control what you can. So another driver on the road eating or on their phone or being distracted, they have a kid in the car, maybe they drop their vape under the seat and that's now the most important thing in their life is to get that back. It doesn't matter the reason why the cars are distracted, just that they can become distracted. And now that it's your job to control what you can control, which is you, and get out of their way. The chances of crashing are the same. Whether you're in a car or on a bike, a distracted driver can just plow into you. And the only difference there is that the consequences for crashing on a motorcycle are a lot more severe. So you must play an active participant in your life and making sure that you don't crash. Again, understanding, being aware that it can happen, being prepared to move, being prepared to find another route. That's all you got to do. And paying homage to the first one of just lack of awareness. If a car sees you and doesn't recognize you or doesn't perceive you properly or it doesn't anticipate your speed or straight up doesn't see you, maybe intentional blindness or they just don't check their mirrors. The next topic I want to talk about here is failure to yield. So things like roundabouts, merge lanes, intersections. If you're trying to change lanes and they're not letting you, for whatever reason, this comes into law of gross tonnage where the car weighs more than you. So in the event of a side-by-side collision between a motorcycle and a car, you're just a paint scratch to them, but you're on the ground. Again, active participant. You are the smallest thing on the road, so you need to play defensively. Maybe you miss your turn or maybe you miss your exit because someone's not letting you in. And that's a better outcome to me than fighting for a lane and ending up on the ground somehow. So the fourth topic here is tailgating, and arguably is one of the most annoying things that a car can do to a motorcyclist. To those of you who aren't familiar, maybe you're just now getting into driving in general, but tailgating is when a car follows you too closely. The ideal range is 2 to 3 seconds, maybe 3 to 6 seconds of follow distance between you and the car in front of you so that you have time to react if something happens to them or if they have a blowout or if they slam on their brakes, you want to be able to stop in time. But if someone's following you too close, then the driver behind you is not going to have that kind of time or space to make good decisions when it comes to reacting to whatever you're reacting to. There are 2 ways to avoid this. In your lane position, you've got lane position 1, 2, and 3, which is left, center, right. My personal preference is to drive on the left because then I can see around the drivers in front of me. Worst case scenario, if someone slams on their brakes and I can't stop in time, I can lane filter. But if I slam on my brakes and the person behind me doesn't have time to stop, then I'm already in that lane filtering position and they have space to share the lane with me if they need to. The other option, other than riding on the lines to avoiding people tailgating, is just switch lanes. Typically that means the other driver is just impatient and they want to get ahead and they're trying to push you or whatever their motivation is for that. Switch lanes, let them go. If they're tailgating you and it's a single lane road and you don't have room to let them pass, then pull over. The peace of mind of not having somebody that close to you, behind you, is worth letting them pass and just enjoying your ride even more. All right, so the next one, number 5, is going to be sudden lane changes. A lot of drivers will either turn without using their turn signals or they'll turn it on and immediately switch lanes as fast as possible. Keeping a good space cushion to the left and right and forward and back around you, keeping that bubble of safety, will make it so that if somebody switches lanes really quickly and if you're in a staggered formation, they're just going to switch lanes. And then you could reposition it and get back into a good spot and be able to see around them, maybe switch lanes. But this is just a typical traffic hazard. This happens all the time. Every single time I ride, this happens. Every day this happens. When you make it habitual to just keep in a staggered formation with everybody, not just motorcycles, but you see the motorcycle, and motorcycle staggered formation, do the same thing with cars in traffic. Don't be side by side, don't be in blind spots, just stay staggered. And if somebody moves up and takes that from you, create it again. Just rinse and repeat. Become staggered until it's not staggered anymore, and then become staggered again. Be vigilant, be prepared, but if another driver takes it from you, just create it again. And the last one to talk about is aggressive driving from other drivers. And this looks like, again, tailgating. It could be weaving in and out of traffic. It could be impatience. You see this a lot with impatience or road rage. And I mentioned in another video that the best way to handle aggressive driving from other people is to just disengage. If you have to de-escalate, you can de-escalate, but disengaging is the easiest way. Just don't be a part of it. Find another route to get wherever you gotta go, and not being around them is gonna make your ride more pleasant because you're not stressed about it. When you're riding your bike around other drivers, just be predictable. It's the biggest thing. All right, guys, that's it from me. Go ahead and ride safe, ride smart, and I'll see you in the next video.